Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. Our topic is going to be the IDEaS program. Just so everyone knows, we are recording, so we will distribute this recording afterwards. There's going to be a Q&A session at the end. Feel free to write questions using your webinar tool as they come to you. I'll moderate them, and then whatever time we have at the end, we'll dedicate to answering those questions. Just know that there is also going to be a follow-up email that includes a survey and a copy of the presentation, as well as a link to the recording. So look out for that afterwards. We have Eric here today from IDEaS. Mr. Fournier is presently the Director General, Science and Technology for Strategic Decision Support. He is a scientific advisor to the Department of National Defense and to the Canadian Armed Forces. His role is to provide analysis support on policy and strategy and enterprise resource management to the department. In 2014, Mr. Fournier took up the position of Defense R&D Counselor at CDLS, London, where he was responsible for liaison and defense science and technology between Canada and the United Kingdom, Germany, Netherlands, Sweden, Norway, and Denmark. Upon returning to Canada in July 2017, he was appointed DG for Strategic Decision Support and also selected to develop and lead the implementation of the Innovation for Defense Excellence and Securities Initiative, which is IDEaS. I'm going to let Eric take it from here. So if you guys can all see my screen.
All right, so I think that people can hear me. Sorry about all this trouble. It was working well until 2:04 when we started the webcast, and everything went sideways from there. So I will go through the presentation. It's a fairly long presentation, but it will be distributed to you guys. We will be using only some of the slides only, and I will be telling Haley when I need to change slides. So on the cover page, I want to tell you about what IDEaS is. IDEaS is an access to innovation program. So we're not going to be using it to procure things, but we're going to be using it to connect with innovators in Canada. The program is web-based. It's on our internet page. And it's challenge-based. All of the solutions we'll be looking for are based on challenges that we'll be proposing to people, to innovators in Canada. A few questions I usually get. IP. Well, the IP will stay with the innovators, and Canada will take a license to it, which is the normal way of contracting for the federal government. And eligibility, well, it's very simple. It's open to everybody, from the small company, Joe in his garage, to the big 10,000 employee company, to academia, to a non-for-profit organization, to territorial, provincial, municipal entities. The only people who cannot participate are federal employees, so we're out of it. When did it start? Well, it was originally launched on April the 9th by the minister in Calgary, and we launched our first call for proposal. Since then, we've had 5 calls for proposals already. So we'll start there. So what am I going to do in the presentation is talk to you about a bit about the program, and we'll talk a bit about the results we've been getting so far, because we've had people that have been contributing to our works. Maybe we can do it ourselves. Okay. So just to show you that the program was announced in the defense policy from June 2017. Very high support from the ministers, from the whole department, and it's a big program, $1.6 billion over the next 20 years. So IDEaS has about $85 million a year to use to interest innovators, some of you guys, to work with us to solve our challenges, our issues. So we'll be using various tools to do this, and this is what we'll talk about today. Is the tools that we're putting in place. Next slide. Okay. Why are we doing this? Defense research exists in Canada. The RDC already exists. You've got 8 labs in the country, about $300 million as a budget, 1,500 people. But IDEaS is an augmentative tool to all that. And it's mostly because of globalization of science technology. 70, 80 years ago, lots of the research was being done in government labs, and today it's different. a lot of the research is being done by small entities, small industry, big industry, academia. And today it's close to 85% of the research done in the world is being done by all of those people. Next slide. Are we doing it or no? Okay. And you can skip this one, Ellie, thanks. Next one. But Canada is not the only country doing this. We're well aligned with our partners. So the US launched a third of set strategy to focus in 5 science technology domains in 2014. Australia and the UK have done the same thing. I spent the last 3 years of my life in the UK working on their Defense Innovation Initiative. And we're still sharing programs implemented here in Canada. What's not working well for them, we want to try to stay away from. And we're collaborating a lot on processes. Next slide, please. But what have we learned from our partners? Well, one thing that we've learned is the programs have principles that apply in every country. The first one is agile business process. If we do contracting, we want to go fast to contracting. Going to contract in 12 months, 13 months, like the federal government does sometimes, is not the way to go. While some of our processes that we've been demonstrating so far have a lot to demonstrate that we're trying to follow that way, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Multidisciplinary teams. The complexity of the projects, of the problems that we have today, kind of forces us to have more than one person working on a project, on a problem, because the topics are so complex. So we're going to, in a way, in some cases, force people to work together. In other times, we'll invite them to work together, and we've seen some results like that already. Third one is learn fast for frequent trials, learn fast, fail fast. For several of the challenges that we'll push forward, we're going to have more than one group, more than one entity working on it. So some of our tools are like that also. And for all that, well, the hardest problems attract best ideas. For sure, if we are putting that amount of money and making it, designing a new program, we're going to put some fairly hard problems in the way of the innovators. So next slide, please. The program has really 3 principles. The first one is to bring innovators to work with us. We want to go out and invite them, come and see what we're doing, go on our webpage and register on our mailing list so they know what's going on. So we need to be known and increase that knowledge in Canada. Then when people know us, we need to make sure we have in place the tools for them to work with us, so supporting innovation. And the last pillar is allowing people to demonstrate their solutions. So when they're further along, when they're at a TRL 6, when they have a prototype or even higher, to be able to show us what are their solutions. Next slide, please. And we'll go straight to slide number 9. Thank you. So what you have in front of you is IDEaS. IDEaS is a shell, and inside of that shell, you have what's on this table. So we'll take a good 5 minutes to go through this because, well, everything is there. So the way it starts is, if you look on the left corner, D&D CAF priorities, so Department of National Defense, Canadian Armed Forces priorities. So we go out to the department and we go to the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and all those people, and we ask them for their priorities, their hard problems. If the Army comes to us and say, I want to buy 60,000 pairs of new boots, we send them back because that's not what we do. Now, if the Army goes to Mali, like they're doing these days, and they say, well, the rock and soil of Mali is really killing our boots, and we need a new sole for our boots, well, maybe we can push that to the Canadian innovators to solve. So those priorities or challenges or problems, those are the ones we want to get. We've done this process already, and one case that we've done, we ended up having 176 hard problems that came to us. So we worked through them, cut that down to about 100, so some were combined, so we're pushed back a little bit, and we ended up having 100 problems that look if Canadian innovators could solve. So good. Now the problem that we have at that point is that they're problems, they're not really challenges. We need to work with them. So the first tool that we developed inside of IDEaS is what is called ideation. Ideation labs exist all over the place. Many universities have ideation labs. companies have ideation labs. So we built our own, which is very simple. We bring our scientists, we bring our military personnel in the specific domains, we bring academia. Eventually, we want to be able to bring industry also in that. And we look at the hard problems that we have, and we transform them into challenge that we can push out to Canadian innovators. Now, in the good old days, when we started IDEaS about 9 months ago, our challenges were called Science Technology Challenges, SNT challenges. But quickly, we removed the SNT piece because a lot of our challenges are social sciences of sub-sciences, like recruitment. In our first call for proposals, we had one on recruitment. This call for proposal, because we have one call for proposal open right now, there's one for recruitment also. So it's not only hard sciences like ballistic protection, sensors, but there's also human aspects that we're looking into. So challenges are very, very broad in what we're pushing forward. So at this point, we end up with a bag of challenges. So we're at the big purple rectangle, innovation challenges. And now we're ready to go to the Canadian innovators with our bag of challenges. And what we have in front of us are 5 tools: competitive project, contest, innovation network, sandboxes, innovation assessment, and implementation. The first 3 on the first line, competitive project, contest, innovation networks, are the low TRL type projects or tools. And below that, sandboxes is a TRL 6 to 9. Innovation assessment implementation is TRL 9. So we'll start, and I'll give you a bit of a description of each one of them. So competitive project is it's a contracting tool. So in this case, when we set a challenge to people, the end result is a contract to work with us to deliver a solution. Competitive project we used already once when we launched the program on on April the 9th. The minister launched the program, and at the same time we launched our first call for proposal. Call for proposal was open for almost 2 months. That was on June the 7th. And the first contract was given on August the 4th. So between the end of the call for proposal and the first contract was less than 2 months. So we're pretty happy with that, and we've given another contract since then. But I'll tell you a bit more about competitive projects, and I'll give you the results of that first call for proposal. So the way it works is we set a challenge out, and for that challenge we tell people, if you know how to solve this, or if you know how to solve parts of it, why don't you make us a proposal? So again, on our webpage, on our portal, people can go in and enter a proposal. It's a templated proposal, and we have a template on our webpage. Very simple, 5 pages, 3 tables, a couple of hours, you're done. For many reasons. One, we're talking about a concept, so it doesn't need to be too complicated. And at the same time, we want to keep it simple for us to evaluate, because we knew we'd be getting many proposals, and we got hundreds of proposals. So we want to keep it simple. The way competitive project works, it's a 3-phase process. So we evaluate, we decide who wins, who has got good proposal, and then we start them along 3 phases. The first phase is could last from 0 to 6 months, and from 0 to $200,000. The second phase is 0 to 1 year, 0 to $1 million. And the last phase is 0 to, the time is undetermined, but it's up to $20 million. And TRL in there are, the first phase is low TRL, TRL 1 to 3. The second phase is more like TRL up to 6 maybe. And the last one is up to TRL 9. So really to develop a concept from the concept phase up to the end product. Now, what allows us to go quickly to contract is we have a few tricks in there. When people submit their proposals, we talked about IP already. IP is resolved. The innovators keep the IP, and there's a license that goes to the federal government. So no negotiation on IP. For money, I said so, 0 to $200,000. You need $151,000, $328.51. You put that in your proposal, that's what you'll get. And then when you send your bills, we'll just assess and make sure that you're spending the amount of money that you're supposed to be spending for us. So no negotiation on money. And for the statement of work, well, the proposal that you submit is using a template that we built with the Works Canada. So we use the wording that they gave us, which is the wording of a contract. So when somebody says my proposal is finished and it is my statement of my proposal, it's your statement of work. So you're telling us this is what you'll be delivering to us. So that's why we can go very easily to contracts. All of those things are already determined. There's no negotiation almost. So we had our first call for proposal using this tool. Usually I have a bunch of shots. Out in one shot done. So June the 7th, first contract was given. We're giving 161 contracts for those 16 challenges. More than one contract, maybe we give, but the other one we're giving than one because more potential on the challenge that they have. We have had many proposals for our challenges. We had more than 70. A lot of us to select the project in April. We had a call on our second time use that tool. Challenges out. It's active until November the 27th, and some of the there's something on communications. There are a couple of them on social media. There's one on recruitment. I invite you to look at them when they're open. So that's competition. I'll skip contest for a minute and I'll go to Innovation Network. Innovation Network is it's a different challenge anyway. I mean, we just only. So we posted for Innovation Network. We're trying to give fairly a longer period of time. So in this case, networks, we had 2 calls. The first one against material. One was on autonomous. I'll focus on that one. And we were looking at human-machine interface. We pushed that out to a proposal to work, but a bit more complex in this case. Submit a proposal. Many entities need to have some industry. So university is the first lead investor and builds a network with us. Very good success so far. We had and the first page again to pass the opportunity all the information in the network that we've had. Come back a little bit to contests. In this case, you'll remember the X Prize approximately. They said fly a rocket to 100 is not to give you 10 million, the same type of process. So some challenges are that type where we here's a challenge. If you can deliver a solution to this challenge, show us, and we'll somehow acquire the solution. We'll buy it, we'll buy the IP, but we'll have the solution to what we're looking for. So those 3 are the together low TRL things. Now, if you go to sandboxes, it's a different level of interactions here. We're talking about TRL6. So there are to start existing. And the sandbox is really for industry or both such challenge and you say straight to us how you will. So what we do in Sand, there's no really going to get a contract. The infrastructure required for demonstration to happen. So if we need to have a ship somewhere in the Halifax harbor, people can come and demonstrate. We've tried that sandbox tool already with 1 September. And we don't know where we are. Propose a set of challenges, push 5 out. asking for people to tell us which one that they would be a demonstration of. Didn't get any takers, that's okay, but some got will hold this. So really it demonstrates their solution to us based on our challenge. So what do they gain? In this case, when some military personnel that provide feedback to them, and for us in technology, the last two innovators is one is the area where we sit, will 10,000 of you separated. So three. So to allow us to use it and to demonstrate to ourselves. So the demonstration for us, we do the demonstration, we use it, and so we use our operator the demonstration. So yeah, industry and academia, and for a small, short period of time, from like 2 weeks to maybe 6 months. I'll give you an example. Let's say a university in Alberta wins one of our innovation network. All right, so they set to work and they're working in a specific domain and everything goes well. After 2 or 3 months, the lead investigator in the innovation network comes to us and say, look, there's a company in Montreal doing some very good work along my network, and they're very happy for us to work with them. So I would have 2 students that could put over there for a few months, but I don't have the funding because the program of work that I proposed for the network is very fixed. So IDEaS will take some of its funding, take the 2 students, put them in Montreal for 2 or 3 months, pay their salary and all the accommodations, and then bring them back. So it's a tool inside of IDEaS to have people work together. And we said earlier, multidisciplinary teams is what we want to push forward. Well, it's another tool to do this. The last one, integrators, is really a tool it's for us. Everything that will start under IDEaS, that be a competitive project, a contest, or a network, we want to make sure that some of our scientists are connected to that tool to ensure that people go in the right direction. I don't like the term project director, project manager, scientific authority, or technical authority. That person is going to be more someone who's going to be holding the hand of the innovators so that they go in the right direction. Remember, we're giving a challenge to people, so there's various ways to solve it. We're not asking someone to build a blue chair with red handle, where it's a task. We're really working on a challenge, so we want to make sure they go in the overall right direction to deliver on our challenge. Now, I would invite Haley to move to slide number 13, please. And we'll go through a little bit of what has been going on and what will happen in the future. Keep going a bit more. I think it's not the right presentation we have there. Yeah, okay, that one. Thank you. Nope, that was the right one. Perfect. The next 5 slides are going to talk about the 5 tools, competitive project, and then the others. And I'll go through them fairly quickly just to show you where we are and what's going to happen and how we're going to be using them. So competitive project, as I said earlier, it's a contracting tool. We've used it once. First line says we've launched on April the 9th, closed on June the 7th. We're going for more than 1 contract per challenge. Now we're going to have altogether 161 contracts. And the last one will be finally awarded at the end of November. We want it to be done by the end of October, but with so many contracts, our contracting agency got a bit overwhelmed at some point. We'll do better when we do the next call for proposal, but even this one for our first one was not bad. We've used it again, as I said on this slide. We launched on October the 18th, closed on November the 27th, and then the contracting will start in January. Now, this tool will be used 3 times per year, and we'll have between 6 and 8 challenges every time we use it. So the next time that will be used is in March 2019. Next slide, please. Innovation Network, again, it's a tool we'll be using a few times per year. We've used it twice in 2018, so we had a first call on advanced material, camouflage and protection. We had our second call on autonomous system, which was human-machine interface. Innovation Network will use it twice a year, once in March, April, once in August, September, to build 2 networks per year. Yeah, and so we already have our challenge for the next call, which will occur in early April. Next slide, please. So sandboxes, as I said, we used once already, August 21st and September the 24th, we closed. We had 5 challenges that we pushed out. Now we did the analysis. 2 of those challenges were interesting for innovators to come and demonstrate to us. So in the next few months, we'll hold those 2. I'll tell you which ones they are. Corrosion on ships and counter UAVs. So stay tuned for call for proposals to come in and do those demonstrations. Sandboxes will be used a few times a year, so we do the same exercise where we'll take a number of challenges, we'll push them out to ask which ones the innovators in Canada are ready to demonstrate. Next slide, please. Contest, not quite finished yet. I mean, we have a small team, and as I said, we've had a few calls already, call for proposals. We had 5 so far, and we're still developing our program. So this one, however, will be finished by, I would say, about Christmas. So I would expect to see our first call for proposal using contest in early to late January. So this one, again, based on challenge, we'll set a challenge, and we'll say, if you can help us, come and demonstrate your solution, and we'll work with the innovators. And we right now working on 2 challenges that we'll want to do in early in the year, so end of January, probably end of February. So this one will be used a couple of times in the new year for sure. Next slide, please. And finally, our last tool, innovation assessment implementation. This one either is not quite ready, but we're planning to use it in March. We have already 3 challenges for this one. Will be used probably 2 or 3 times a year like the others. Yeah. So the other slides that you see in the presentation are there for information. Now, what we had planned originally was to go on our webpage to show you a few things, and I'm not sure. Now we cannot hear you guys, so we cannot hear the people from OMX. Now I'm not sure if they can hear us, and they'll go on the webpage. I'm not sure what's going to happen here right now. Oh, okay, so we see our webpage. Good. So if someone could go to the current opportunities, so you see our webpage, so we work on our webpage. Current opportunities, you see that there is a competitive project open, closing on November the 27th. If somebody could click on competitive projects, I'd like to show you some of the challenges that are open right now. And then go into see all challenges, please. Thank you. All right. So you see them there. So they're under themes. So theme 1 to theme 5, protecting our forces, putting our people first, and then saying for C4SR, building cyber capacity, operating in cyber austere environment. And you see the challenges. If you can type on any of them, just click on one of them. Well, it's right there. So protecting our forces. So that's the way they're built. A bit of a picture to show you what we mean, description and context, desired outcome and considerations. And when people are ready and looking at them and saying, okay, I'm ready to apply, on our webpage, if you go back a little bit, you'll see that there's a place ready to submit, and it brings you to our submission portal. So if you go back to current opportunities, you'll see the submission portal there. If you go one back again, no, sorry, click on competitive projects, sorry. So current opportunities, competitive projects, and we'll see it there. Yeah. And then you see it ready to submit. Now, if you click on this, it's going to bring you to our submission portal, which is, there you go. Now, so you have to register and you're ready to apply and you make your application. Now, if you go back to the main page for IDEaS, I just want to go show you a few things that we've done in the past. There you go. Go into, please, past opportunities. Oh, sorry, but before you're there, okay, well, fine. Future opportunities. We will be, what we want to be doing is to provide as much information about our challenges as possible. So we're trying to, we've been asking the department to allow us to put our future challenges there with our future calls for proposals. Right now, this page is empty, but as soon as we get that approval, we'll be putting in that page the calls for January, for February, for March, with the various challenges. So stay tuned for information on this call, on this page. Past opportunities, please. Okay. And IDEaS is very transparent. All of our stuff is going to be on our webpage. Now, if you go into Innovation Network call number 1 and go to the list of accepted letter of intent, please. There you go. So you see here the people who made proposals to us, the name of the project, where they're from. There's a bit more information missing because, as I said, networks are many people working together. And there's another column called collaborators that we didn't post. But in this case, what we've done is for the specific one, which is advanced material, people submitted a letter of interest. We received more than 55 of them, which was very surprising for us. We didn't expect that many. Because people that, it's a fairly extensive process. They have to build a network. So, received many of them. We evaluated them fairly quickly, cut that down to 33. The 33 are in front of you and they're posted. And they had until October the 12th to provide their overall project proposal. Now, the project proposal it's a lengthy thing. I mean, we're talking about a project that lasts 3 years for $1.5 million. So we got those. We're evaluating them right now. And before Christmas, the 6 winners are going to be known. So we're really going forward to move quickly. If you go back one step to show where we were just before. Now, so you see the results from Innovation Network 1 and 2, Competitive Project 1. If you do the complete list of defense and security challenges, please. That's it. So those were the 16 challenges that we launched in April. They closed in June. We're going through the contracting process right now. As I mentioned earlier, 161 contracts are going to be released. We released more than 100 of them so far, and the other 60 are going to come before the end of the month. When we're done with those 161 contracts, they're going to be posted here also. There'll be the title of the project, the entity doing the work, how much money they got, because we really want to be transparent. People will see who's working on what. And for all of our tools, for all of our calls for proposals, we'll be doing this. People will see the challenge, the title of the project, who's working on what. So as transparent as possible. Now, 2 things on our webpage. If you want to go back to the main page, please. Now, if you go down a little bit, 2 points. Now, if you look on the side, on the menus, you have the place for events. So those are places where IDEaS is having presentations or booth at public events. We do a lot of non-so-public presentations with some organizations. Now, if you want to go a bit lower again, and you'll see another, there you go, join our mailing list. As I mentioned earlier, we've had already so far this year 5 calls for proposals, so it's many of them, and more are coming. But we don't have those calls for proposals on specific dates. IDEaS is very bad on picking a date and saying it's coming. We'll have a date, but it's not going to be the first of the month. It's going to be when we're ready, we'll launch. So to inform you guys, why not join our mailing list? We don't send birthday cards like Facebook does. We only send a reminder when we have a call saying, hey, go check the challenges that we've just launched. So, and we're only asking for your email address. We don't want your name, where you work for, just the email address, and that way you stay connected and you see all the call for proposals that we have. Now, we have a few minutes left. We'd be happy to take questions, but I'm not sure how we can do that because we can't hear you guys.
I'm wondering, Haley, whether under the chat function you could type a question and then we can answer that. 5 minutes, okay. So if you want to enter anything in the chat, Haley, as a question, we could take a look. So the question is, oh, I guess everybody can maybe see it, but.
We consider projects that are tangential to the project problem. I'm not quite sure I understand tangential, but we have a challenge, and we ask for solutions that will potentially solve a part or all of that project. So you don't need to solve some of the challenges are fairly broad, but if you can provide a piece of the solution, we'd be very happy to see your proposal. Now, when you make a proposal, it's a template, so it's very simple. If I understand the question, can you consider presenting these projects as a project requirement documents on the website? We're not functioning like normal government projects. We have templated documents. So if somebody wants to make a proposal, they go in, answer the questions that is there, and your proposal is done. So it's very simple. I'm not sure if I answered that question properly. I hope so. How is IDEaS different than BCIP? Okay, IDEaS is based on challenges. So BCIP in the past worked a different way around, which they opened up to anybody who had a product to come and give it to them so that they would shop it inside the government and identify somebody to try it. Now, a lot of the time it took them more than a year to do this. IDEaS works differently. We do have the challenge. We have the requirement from one of our operators. So when we set the challenge out, we already know who will be taking it up to test it. So we don't have to go through the process of finding someone. It's already there. So, but besides those differences, BCIP and IDEaS, BCIP and the tool in IDEaS called Innovation Assessment Implementation are about the same thing. There's a product that exists and it's being tested by an operator. Now, in our case, we start with the challenge and we know what we want. BCIP was a bit more open. I hope it answers the question. Yes, for sure. I mean, as I mentioned earlier.
So maybe we'll repeat the question just in case anybody can't see it. So it says, we have solutions that will address some, but not all of the ideal outcomes of the challenges. Should we still apply? How can we best highlight our proposal as a partial solution?
We understand very well. I mean, if you look at the challenges that we have, if you look at the text of the challenge, they're fairly broad in range. So if people can answer a part of it and provide a good solution to a part of it, for sure this is what we're looking for. So you're not disadvantaged when you provide just a piece of the solution. We're looking for some of that. Any other questions? Oh, yeah.
Are there any staff on the West Coast, or is everything run from Ottawa?
We have a small team, about 33 people running IDEaS itself. We're located in Ottawa, but we do a lot of engagement across the country. Some of our calls for proposals are done across the country also. So, for example, the program was launched in Calgary. We've had calls for proposals in Vancouver also. And we use various government entities to help us. So the Office of Small and Medium Enterprises across Canada represent IDEaS in Canada, and we've formed some of their people to go and present our stuff. But to manage the program, we're managing it from Ottawa, but it's a broad Canadian entity. For example, in our first calls for proposal, we have proposals from every province in Canada, and we're very proud of that. Well, we're missing the territories though, and we're doing some engagement with the North. We want to make sure that people from the North also have their opportunities. Is that it for question? All right. Seems that it might be it for questions then. Oh, one more.
We were pre-approved for BCIP, and then the fund ran out of money. We have a testing partner. Will this work under IDEaS?
No, IDEaS and BCIP are two different programs under two different departments. In our case, we work, as I mentioned earlier, with challenges that are from the Defense Department, and we know that we have stakeholders that want solutions for those challenges. So it's a very independent process. I hope that BCIP will be able to identify some funding and to continue their program, because I really like their program. They have a very successful program. So wait, we'll just. So
we'll go up back to another question here. Are these programs strictly for Canadian companies?
We have a Canadian content rule. So IDEaS itself as a program was not given a Canadian content to follow. We developed our own, and right now it's 50% Canadian content. That content, if you go on the Public Works website, they define very well what Canadian content is based on the number of employees, the amount of sales, and everything else. There's long equations to look at that. But right now we do 50% Canadian content.
So the next question is, will the participants be required to come to the organizers for meetings?
Nope. Well, yes and no. For some of our tools, no. Competitive project, for example, we do everything remotely. We go to visit people once in a while. For Innovation Network, because we're developing a capacity, we're going to be holding a symposium once a year somewhere in Canada. For example, the first set of network that we're setting up on autonomous system will bring people all together once a year so that they're working together and they know each other. So to really form a large network with the 6 entities that we will start. So no, there's no requirement to travel. And if there is a requirement to travel somewhere for a reason, IDEaS will probably offer some compensation for some of the travel.
Okay. So the next one is, I'm assuming you're referring to Innovation Networks here, but I'm looking at the call for proposals for Innovation Networks 2, list of accepted letters of intent now, and don't see my proposal. I never received any rejection. Do I conclude that my proposal is rejected?
I'm surprised to see this because when they posted the 25 that were accepted for phase 2, they also sent all of the negative results there. So I will check with them. If you can maybe send an email to OMX giving a bit more information, and they will transfer that to us so we can go and check in our database, because all of the replies should have been provided quite a long time ago, because the second call for proposals for Innovation Network is closing. The second phase is closing at the end of November, so the whole thing was probably done at the end of August there. So please send an email to OMX, and we'll figure it out for you. Sorry about that.
Okay, that's the end of questions. Thank you very much. Okay,
so thank you very much for being here today. Sorry about the late start, and sorry about the technical issues. I think we worked it out okay. The presentation is going to be provided to you guys, and we will use the internet to reply to those longer questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day.